Behold Emma Watson bursting straight out of Hogwarts, throwing off the shackles of child stardom to become an articulate communicator on the nature of the way that social and media life functions. She says she's self-partnered, not single. Now, there's always gentle ridicule when people in the public eye of a certain sensibility venture forth a new idea, and of course it's almost impossible to read about this story without seeing it partnered to the Chris Martin, Gwyneth Paltrow uncoupling. We're consciously uncoupling instead of getting divorced. Now, language is very, very powerful, and language is continually evolving. Emma Watson's choice to say, like, I'm self-partnering, even like when I think about those literal words, that confuses me a little bit. But her right to say, I don't want to be regarded as single, somehow incomplete, somehow a person who's on a journey, and if I'm not on that journey, if I'm not with a man or another person, then I'm not somehow participating in what I'm supposed to be participating in. I think it's a very valuable point, and I think Emma Watson continues to use her fame in laudable and interesting ways, talking a lot about feminism, the environment, expressing her often progressive, I suppose, would you call them progressive, views. And in this instance, it's an attempt to address something that's kind of at the core of our social systems and related to feminism, i.e. a woman without, I think the assumption is male partner is somehow incomplete, and that also that there is a predicted and prescribed journey that she is supposed to be on. I didn't really get with someone in a reasonable way till I got married the first time, and it sort of, I recognised that I wasn't really emotionally or spiritually ready then, and in a sense it was an attempt to conform. I mean, how much of our identity do you think is stuff that we've downloaded and are posing within because we can't bear to not fit in, because we don't want to be exposed? I think frequently about the formulation of my own sexuality, my promiscuity, my inability to look beyond heterosexuality, because I grew up in a place at a time in a culture where it will be a challenge. And I've got friends that are, my age and from similar backgrounds that are gay, for example, but I feel like in my personal case with my own sort of setup, familial in particular, somehow I felt that maleness was a very particular thing. So I think that Emma Watson challenging these assumptions as if like it's, when's Emma Watson going to marry the guy that's Spider-Man or whatever? Like, I think it's good that she continually does this stuff. She seems to be very good at it. Also, she made that mad and interesting choice that I'm many years later have imitated, to go back into education, didn't she? She's like obviously a person that is smart and interested in exploring what life can be. Are you interested in biopolitics? Do you hear much about it? That politics, what the term geopolitics is like, the geographical component of politics, or biopolitics, the politics of life, controlling other people's lives, controlling other people's ideologies. And I think that a lot of the rhetoric and emergent progressive discourse is about unpacking and challenging many of those assumptions around gender and race, etc. And I feel that there's a lot of benefit to a lot of those conversations, and I think it's particularly good when it's something that's, in my opinion, less contentious like this, that's not so identity oriented, but is more about a broader thing that we can all identify with. Like, oh, if you're, if you're a man, you're meant to be like this. If you're a woman, you're meant to be like this. If you're this age, you're meant to be like this. If you're this colour. It's good to challenge these preconceptions, many of which I believe are acculturated and imposed externally, as opposed to natural, chemical, internal expressions of an actual essential self, although, of course there is such a thing as biology. Anyway, let's just say that Emma Watson continues to contribute intelligently by introducing new vocabulary and new ways of understanding being single, or as she would have it, self-partnering. Perhaps we should all in our own lives look at where we are not expressing who we are in order to conform to subtle expectations of people. Not always easy to spot, because much of what we do comes from the unconscious mind, and therefore by definition we don't even literally know we're doing it. If you like that video, why don't you, I've got a whole relationship video playlist, a whole playlist of them, just one after another. You can just lose yourself in an endless, circuitous infinity of relationship videos. Check them out on YouTube.